Hi everyone! In today's video we're going to be looking at the new Dolce & Gabbana Ever Icon eyeshadow palette. It looks like this and I've got it in 03 Chrome Star, which is a lovely, cool colour story. Watch on! Let's take a look at the shades first.
Okay, so here's some live footage in Harrods of all three of the Dolce & Gabbana eyeshadows. Here's the brownie one on the top, pinky one, and here's the one I've got, it's a lovely neutrals. Just bear in mind that the really shimmery topper is just there where my nail's pointing at the top because I ran out of hand. Anyway, that gives you a really good look as to what these look like compared to each other.
So my Dolce & Gabbana Chrome Star finally arrived. It was stuck in Italian customs, eating pizza and drinking espresso and looking very cool and living la dolce vita. But finally, it's here in grey old UK. But there you go, bit of a come down for it. So this is what it looks like. The way that they have divided the shades is into day and night. So this is your crease colour. And then on this side, we've got the night colours. And then on this side, we've got the day colours. That's basically how they've divided it. And the central one is basically some kind of topper. We've basically got 4 metallics or shimmers of some description, and then 2 mattes. The crease obviously being the matte, and this, what looks like a black. I mean, that's what it looked like on my, not this one, sorry, that one. I've got no sense of direction. That looks like a black to me on the back of my hand, but we'll have a look at it properly. So here we are. We've got the day and night crease shade that runs along the top here. And then here are the 2 day shades. We've got this lovely shade and this, they're so creamy, goodness me. So that's the day lid and the day outer. That's basically how they detail them. And then we've got the topper shade, which is for both day and night. So that's kind of the unifying shade, really. And then we've got the night shade. So we've got this one for the lid and this one for, whoop, that one for the outer. Lovely sooty black. And that's the whole colour story there. Very usable. I have to say, even as I'm just finger swatching, they feel so soft and creamy. Or rather, creamy and soft, but there's the creaminess is the thing that's really remarkable. In other words, when I say remarkable, I'm not saying it's unique. I mean, it is worthy of commenting on. It really is kind of noteworthy. You really notice it with the finger swatches. Okay, let's get these on the lid. I thought I would do one day look and one night look, although I don't go out much, so maybe I'll end up using both. At any rate, let's kick off. What have I got on my eyelids? Oh yes, Lisa Eldridge Phoebe on my eyelids, that's it. I've just put foundation on and that's it. The sharp-eyed viewer may notice that I'm wearing a red lipstick, and I never wear red lipstick. However, within my box, which was enormous and probably, well, it was basically way too big to merit one eyeshadow, and a bit wasteful, frankly. But I did get very excited when I saw the courier. However, there were 2 sets of samples, I should tell you. Now, maybe those of you who have already bought this, because a lot of people have received this already, because as I said, mine was stuck. But I got a couple of matte foundation samples. If you've used this, please let me know. How matte is it? Is it worth me trying it? I don't know. These shades won't be good for me, but let me know. And 3 lipstick samples. They are in the 3 finishes, which is the gloss, the matte and the satin, and they're all in the shade 2018. That's what I've got on my lips. I've got the satin one. Comes in the normal little sachet things and a little brush. So that's what I have put on. This is very new for me. It actually reminded me why I prefer to wear a more neutral lipstick, because then it doesn't matter what you're wearing, because then I had to go and change my top. It was one of those things. Anyway, let's go ahead and start on the old crease shade, this one here, and see how we go. Now, while I was waiting for this, I was not idle. I was a bit frustrated because I couldn't wait to get my sticky paws on it. Out of the 3 shades, one of which is pinky, one of which is warm, and the other one is this one. This was the one that attracted me to begin with. I'm not saying I'm not going to get the others, especially if you tell me you've tried the others and you like them, so let me know. But I recently started revisiting my Natasha Denona Glam palette, and I realised, much as I like it, I think I've changed. It's just that little bit too shiny for me. I don't know whether it's to do with the way I do it. I don't know. I tried it I tried it over 3 days actually. Now look, it's quite old, so maybe it's gone off as well. That's the other thing. I mean, I tend to keep stuff, but I don't know. At any rate, my point is I'm really in the market for something new and fresh that is in the cooler kind of category. So that's why I kind of leapt at this, and there's lots of kind of shimmers which I really enjoy. So I am hoping that this is going to scratch that itch, as it were. Although I shouldn't say that, because can you see I've got eczema on my neck. This is, yeah, welcome to autumn winter in this country for me. This is what it looks like, and I've got it on my eyelids as well, but so far my eyes have been holding up. Let's see, it's just the way it goes. While I was waiting for it, I was not idle, and because this is my first Dolce & Gabbana product, even though, honestly, it's at the top of my list of brands to explore, because when I have asked you a couple of times, what are sort of the brands that you particularly love, D&G really does come up a lot. I have had it at the top of, actually it's very near the top of my list, to sort of go to Harrods, because that's where I think I can get mine most easily. I don't know where else stocks it in my town, but anyway, so I can have a sort of a proper look. But because this is my first foray, I thought I'd sort of find out a little bit about the company, because it's the kind of thing I'm interested in. And I'll keep this brief, because not everyone finds this interesting, so I do appreciate that. It's like when people talk about sport, for me. I know the world finds sport really interesting. Football, whatever it is, my eyes just glaze over. In fact, they don't glaze over, my eyes close. Does that count? Yeah. Anyway, so here's what I found was really interesting, is while it was, I think I did know this, while Dolce & Gabbana Beauty was originally under license with Shiseido, once the license ran out, D&G took it over themselves. And this is the bit that's interesting. They hired a chap, I've written his name down, Gianluca Tognolo. I wonder if he eats pizza. Anyway, and he was the LVMH country manager for Italy. So all the beauty and cosmetics brands under LVMH, he was the main guy in Italy. So they've hired him to basically not just revamp beauty, but basically to augment it. What they really want is for beauty to make up 30% by 2027 of their entire brand. So there's a real commitment to beauty. I found this really interesting and very exciting, because I thought, if I really like this eyeshadow, I feel I can commit to this brand because they're committing. It kind of felt like that, rather than something that's going to peter out. We have had a few brands that peter out recently. Oh, this is lovely. This is going, look how nicely, look how, I'm going to just bring you closer. I apologise for the lighting. Half of my lights have gone. They haven't fused. There's a bigger problem. I've called the electrician, but this could take a while because parts have to come from the States and it's problematic. So I do apologise. I will do my best with this lighting. Look at that. It's so soft, isn't it? I'm using my Shodo 00. That's really very nice. Looks quite nice with the lipstick. Maybe I'm going to end up being converted. Anyway, so my point is, they are committed. Now, I read a long interview with said Gianluca, and I really enjoyed it. One of the things that he said is, in a lot of brands, beauty, as we know, is a bit of an add-on, and it's expected to kind of, frankly, support couture and other parts of the business, but there's not like a homogenous kind of attitude and a kind of united sense that beauty is very much part of couture and fashion. Whereas with Dolce & Gabbana, the two of them are so committed that they have said to Signore Gianluca that the three of them will take the decisions alone, and so that way they can quickly take decisions. They are committed to beauty being an absolutely integral and vital part of their business and working in synergy with the fashion brand. What he does say in this interview, and I think you may appreciate this, he says, for example, let's just take a random example that happens to be owned by LVMH. Dior has got a different creative director for fashion and a different creative director for beauty, and the two, I think, isn't it Peter Phillips, I think, for beauty, and the two are not always aligned. I would put that in the shots fired category. I really would. At any rate, I was excited by this because one of the other things that they say is they really, really want to have many, many, many more beauty ranges on offer by 2027 so that we can have the whole Dolce & Gabbana experience, including skincare. Now, the thing about skincare, he does say they're not going to do anti-aging because obviously that needs R&D and history and heritage and all of that. But they are doing, those of you who know all about Dolce & Gabbana, and I don't, as I said, this is my first product, they do some skincare. They do some kind of moisturizers and serums and that kind of eye patches, the little known Lord Nelson range. But they're not really for sort of mature skins, but that's all fine. Anyway, my point is, there is hope in my heart. So I kind of feel it was worth it. And I don't begrudge the pizza. I don't. Or even the tiramisu, because honestly, put on a little bit of weight, I could hardly get him out of the box. Right. So now we're going to should we do day on this side and night on this side? So day is, remember, these two shades here on this side. What am I using? Refa 14. Just go this way because then you can see. Oh, that's a good bit of sheen there. That's rather nice. Yeah, I don't know what's happened to my glam palette. As I said, maybe it's just as likely to be me, frankly, because, you know, our tastes change, don't they? So, and my eyelids have changed, obviously. Now, I should tell you that these are made in Italy. You get 6.5 grams, and there are some customer tests that I can tell you about, whatever they're called. The right phrase will come to mind. 93% agree that there is no fallout when using these. Now, I have been tapping, but I haven't got any fallout so far. But really, it's going to be the black, isn't it? That I think may be the one that we need to kind of really be alert with. Now, I'm using the darker grey next to it. This is very nice. 90% agree that textures build and layer flawlessly. Well, so far, I haven't got any complaints. And then they say that the eyeshadows are smudge proof, but this, I like this. This is a self-evaluation test. This reminded me of an international school that is near me, and the kids, it's a private school, it's an international school, and the kids get to write their own school reports at the end of every semester. What do we think those kids write in their own school reports? What do we think? Do we think they say that little Johnny could try harder, talks too much in class, doesn't concentrate and doesn't focus? Or do we think that they write that they are absolutely brilliant and they try their hardest all the time? At any rate, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because I'm liking this lipstick. I am so easily swayed, big box or no. Okay. And 90% agree that the shades are ultra pigmented. Now, you'll have seen in the swatches, they do swatch really well on the back of the hand. I was kind of surprised by that, actually. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. I think I need to darken up the outside a little bit more, and I will use the crease shade a bit more for that. Just to kind of invite a little bit more, maybe a little bit more warmth in there. I'm slightly nervous of the black. I would use it as a liner, maybe. I don't use black that much these days, but I would use it as a liner in the evening. Yeah, so I suppose that's okay. Do you know what? These blend themselves. I'm not really doing very much. I'm really not. Yeah. What do you think? I haven't had to do very much at all. I mean, I feel a bit kind of redundant in the sense that you don't get that, oh, I'm going to sit down and do my makeup and really take my time. You kind of don't need to take your time. I know this is a good thing, but this may be a very short video. Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised by that. I mean, pleasantly surprised, obviously. Let's just put a bit more on the outside. Let's just invite a little bit more warmth in there. Maybe warmth is not necessarily the right word. At any rate, let me just tell you, there are two ingredients, one of which may well be important to you. Firstly, it contains oleic acid known to revitalize the eye area. I could do with some of that. And it contains Italian pistachios. If you've got a nut allergy, please be aware. And they're saying this is known to smooth the skin. I actually didn't know that. I've eaten a lot of pistachios in my life, but okay. And 10 hours of wear is what they say. What I like about 10 hours of wear is I think that's realistic. That feels realistic, doesn't it? I actually really like that. I'm going to put a little bit underneath the eye as well. Let me see, where's my little... I'm just going to use this little Bobbi Brown brush. It's just like that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that crease shade, the sort of the taupey crease shade underneath. And let's see how we go on that one. The box does tell us that with this you can create two iconic looks, the day look and the night look. The thing that I would say, and I did fiddle about with this, is the grey, the darker shade, this one here. When I put it on the back of my hand, look at that. That is a really nice one and done shade. You see that? Let's do it that way. Ah, there we go. That's easier. You see that? Yeah, so I did kind of think, okay, there's quite a bit of variety here. The other side, which is the this one here, the nighttime side, sorry, that's what that one looks like. Again, these could be cheeky little one and done shades. Do you see? I thought that was interesting because you could take this to work with you, wear the one and done during the day, and then if you're out on the razzle, you can boost it up a little bit. Thought that was good. Okay, so I've put a little bit of this underneath. I'm going to put a little bit of the grey shimmer underneath as well. And let's see what happens. No fallout. Can you see that? I don't think I can see any fallout. Yeah, no fallout. That's rather nice, isn't it? I kind of feel that I want a bit of liner on there, but I might be wrong. What I'll do is I'll leave it like this until I put the mascara on, then I can always add it on afterwards. But it kind of feels to me like, do you see? Kind of feels to me like it needs something. I need to correct this because I just put a tiny bit of bronzer on, but actually, yeah, it's the wrong shade, but I'll correct that. Now, this topper shade, the one in the middle, that's what that looks like. Okay, just to remind you. I'm going to try putting some on top and let's see what happens. I'll do it with my finger. Oh, that's very nice. There we go. That's lifted it, hasn't it? I feel. Maybe I don't need the liner if it's doing that. So that's an optional extra, isn't it? Because we didn't have to do that. We got enough I think we got enough dimension with the two shades, the grey with the sort of the peachy shade. But that is rather nice, I think. Let's see what it looks like once we do the other eye. And I've put the mascara on. Let's see. As I said, I can always add a bit of liner. I may yet even add a little bit of that black that I might mix with the taupe and see whether we... In fact, let's do it now. I know I'm going off-piste from what they recommended, but now I should tell you that the other thing, there were quite a few little quotes that I liked from the CEO. He said, "Our brand is joyful." Isn't that lovely? That's so nice, because that's how, it really is how I feel about makeup. That is how I feel. It's all about the joy. So he says, our brand is joyful, so you can express yourself through makeup immediately. Isn't that lovely? You don't have to go and buy the clothes. You can just buy some makeup and channel their joy, which I think is a lovely thing. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of the black on this Bobbi Brown brush, but I am going to try and soften it a bit with the taupey shade. I don't know whether this is going to work. Let's see. Yeah, it's not very harsh. Good. But if you like black, let me show you. It's a black. That's a nice kind of sooty black, but still soft, it feels to me. There's an amazing black that I rediscovered recently, actually, in the Natasha Denona Bieber palette. I was fiddling about with it. I was fiddling about with the Bieber palette for my leaks video, for my Christmas leaks video, which is, I think has just been released actually. And there's a cheeky little leak in there. But I got out my Bieber palette because I wanted to compare it to some sneaky, cheeky, leaky things. And that black is amazing, but it's an enormous palette to kind of cart around. Now there is fallout here, can you see? I don't think I tapped it this time though, having said that. Yeah, I think it's because I didn't tap it, because the first time I did tap it. But ignore the fallout. Can you see the black? Now what I did is, all I did was I just mixed it with this one and this one, yeah? But it is soft. It is a soft black. I mean, you can see it's soft. It's just that I don't like black, but this has softened it. So I actually like this. Yeah, this is very nice. I don't want to put more black on there because I think that's kind of enough. And I'm getting on a bit, and harsh lines are not great for me. I will just clean up this eye and I'll be back and we'll do the night look on this side. Right, I have tidied up the little bit of fallout from the black, and I've just put a little bit of different blusher on. I don't know, it might not be enough. Let's see, we'll see at the end. Anyway, an evening look. Just to remind you, it's these two shades here now. Now I've already put the taupey shade in the crease. So let us see if we can put a little bit of this lovely kind of, this shade. So lovely. It's kind of taupey, bronzy, brownie. Oh, taupey bronzy. It's lovely. Okay. Okay, so this is reading warmer on my eyes, but it is very different. You can see, if I bring you in closer, it's very different to the day look. It is warmer. Well, I say warmer, it's more taupey, but on me, I think it reads slightly warmer. Now, what I would say, I know there's a lot of talk about what things look like on mature eyes. I'm not looking for something that gets rid of the lines, but if it blends nicely, then that's fine. I'm not pretending to be younger or less decrepit or less desiccated than I am, which of course immediately makes me think of coconut cake. But anyway, right, this is very nice. I tell you what I like about this, on my eyes at least, I don't feel that I have to have a liner, whereas this one, it was quite a bit lighter and I kind of felt that I needed that depth in a way, or that little bit more dimension. But here, and it's paradoxical because at night, that's when I'm more likely to wear a liner. I think maybe most people are, but I don't know. Actually, I don't know why I say that, because who knows? I don't know. I'm only speaking for myself, but this, for me, and frankly, I'd still wear this during the day, but let's go with the wisdom of Stefano and Domenico, and Gianluca, of course. The Italian triumvirate. Right, okay, so all I've done is put that. Now they want us to put a little bit of the black in the outer corner. I'm going to go with it because I am going to trust, yes I am, in these fine young men. In fact, I think they're not as young as they were, are they? I always kind of remember them from when they first started, when they were these bright young things. But okay, so I am using my Shodo 02 just because that's a very kind of diffuse brush for me. And I'm really tapping, not so much for the fallout, but because I'm slightly nervous about using black. But never mind, I just don't want it to be too much. I am going out later to see this Cartier exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I will be going out with maybe an adjusted version of this makeup, so I don't want to make it too over the top. But having said that, I say that, woo, this is very easy. Gosh, yes, this is a very easy way of getting a little bit of smoky glam and mystery. Yes, it's one of my ambitions to be a mysterious person. I've always wanted to be one of these mysterious women that are enigmatic. No, that's never worked for me, but I would like to be like that. Okay, here we go. Take it up to the brow bone a little bit more. Let's see. The red lipstick is really starting to make sense. But, you know, let's see. It's actually all right in the winter because I hardly ever wear pink in the winter because I can't, it's not a colour it tends to be sort of browns and greys that I wear in the winter. So maybe it will end up making even more sense actually with my clothes. Right, I'm going to take a clean brush and give it a little swoosh. That is very nice though, I feel. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's a bit too much? And would you do the day look and the night look, and certainly if you already have it, is that something that you're interested in, or are you just sort of mixing things up? Because remember, with the day look, we did use the topper, and that lifted that seemed to make it a bit more something. It gave it a little bit more lift. I don't know whether this is going to need that, because it may be when I put the topper on, you kind of lose this smokiness, which I do like. And what I'll do is I'm going to put a little bit of this. I haven't dipped it back in, it's just what's left. Just on the outer corner, let's see. What do you think? I'm closing both eyes so you can actually compare. It is lovely. And can you see I'm doing nothing? I mean, can you see that? You must be able to see. I'm just like, oof, and then it's done. I don't know why I did that sound effect. I apologise. Oh, I must tell you, the other thing that Gianluca says is they want to connect with Gen A and Gen Z. Now, I don't know whether you know any people from Gen A and Gen Z, or if indeed you are from that generation, but my general view is that they don't have the money to spend on this kind of stuff. I'm not saying there's not a proportion that do, but I would say generally that's not their priority when they're trying to pay the rent. I don't want to go down the in this economy route because we are all where we are, I understand that. But I do believe it is the youngsters who are suffering the most. So I'm not entirely convinced by that, but I don't want to contradict him because I'm sure he knows his stuff. I'm just kind of commenting as somebody who has an awful lot of Gen Z and Gen A people coming through my front door and in my life. That's kind of not my impression. But anyway. Right. This is really very quick. Yeah, it's not. I'm not struggling here. I'm really not. And actually, I'm already thinking, gosh, maybe one of the other palettes makes sense as well, because this is really easy. Now, if you've watched my holiday packing video from a couple of months ago, you will know I am not a light packer when I go on holiday. However, you get an awful lot of your business done with this. This is one cool palette, that's it. And you're done. So this could be a holiday contender. What do you think? Should we put some of the topper shade? I think we should. I'd like to see what happens when I put it in the inner corner. So I'm going to do that first. It may be nothing happens. It may be it's not enough. But I would like to try it. I am using my Refa 28. I like the Refa 28, but my favourite is the Refa 21, which is that one. I need to look again at whether it's back in stock because I do want to buy more. Right, okay, I'm going to try it in the inner corner. Oh, yes, it does. Good. Okay. So look, it does give it a little bit of a support. It feels like, yeah, it's kind of like bit of shapewear for the eyes. I'm going to put a bit more. I actually prefer, in this look, I do prefer it in the inner corner. I don't really want to lighten the lid because it's going to change the look. I'll tell you what, look, this is the shade that I've got all over the lid. If I do that, you can see it, yeah. See that? Okay. I'm going to put 2 swipes on the back of my hand, exactly the same, and then I'm going to put the topper on one, and let's see what we think. It changes it a lot, puts a lot of shine on there. Let's try it in the interests of science. Do you know what? I'll use my finger, I'm sorry. Oh, it turns silvery. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Even though it looks, can you see, it looks sort of pinky, doesn't it? On the lid, it goes silvery on top of that, which I suppose is about right, isn't it? Because it did that on the hand. I don't know why I'm surprised. Okay, from what we've sort of done, even though the looks are different, I do think that once I put the topper, the two looks end up quite unified and similar, not the same, but they are slightly similar in look. For me, I wouldn't put it on the lid because I'm so happy with that kind of smoky look going forward, I mean. But it is important that you can see absolutely everything. And actually, I suppose you can see the difference there, can't you? But that is some impressive creamy, if they feel creamy. I don't know enough to tell you what that indicates the formula to be. I'm just telling you, they feel creamy, they blend really easily. Can you see how when I used my, which one was I? I was using the Shodo, wasn't I? The Shodo 02 with the black on the outer corner and also underneath. I did tap, you probably heard me do that. There's literally no fallout. So I think it's fair to say there is no fallout. There has been no fallout today because the fallout we saw there, I didn't tap. Whereas here I did, and I used way more of the black on here. And I did tap quite well, didn't I? Because I was nervous. But it hasn't, there's no fallout. Have a look. I can't see any. I don't know whether you can see any. But there's, and the other thing I should also say is there's no fallout of kind of metallic bits. That's the bit that annoys me when I get to my mid-afternoon or the end of the day and I've got fairy dust on my cheeks. I'm a bit old for fairy dust. No, I don't want to be an aging Tinkerbell. No, This is rather nice. I'm going to take a little brush. Where's another little brush? This is my Refa 03, and I'm going to dip it into that topper shade, which is quite soft, so be careful. I don't know whether you can see, I've already dented it. Yeah, so just if you've got this one, I don't know whether the others are like, the other two shades, the other two palettes are like this, but it is very soft. You have to be light-handed, which doesn't always come easily to me. So anyway, I'm going to put a little bit on this. I'm just going to try a little bit of this, see what happens. No, it doesn't show up. What I'll do instead then is I'll use the bronzy metallic here, just to give it a bit more. Yeah. I'm going to go and put some mascara on and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I've got mascara on. I've touched up the lipstick a bit. I put a bit more. I felt a bit more bold. I should also tell you, once I put the mascara on, I thought I was filming. We're having an electricity gremlins thing at home. But anyway, I wasn't filming. But what I did do is I just did put a bit more of the black here just to deepen it up, because once the mascara went on, there kind of wasn't enough. But that's basically all I've done. So take a look. Now, remember, this is the day look, that's the night look. And I just want to remind you that we put the topper on. I'm just going to bring you in a little bit closer. I just want to remind you that we put the topper on. In my view anyway, it kind of lifted the day side, which I liked, and it kind of changed the night one more than I wanted, just because I like the lid shade that we've been given. So it kind of makes them look slightly more similar than I feel they need to be, kind of thing. But the fact remains, and I say this as somebody who does not like black anymore, this black is superb. It's really easy to blend, it's very smooth, and you can build it up. But if you just want a little bit of smokiness, as somebody who's not a massive smoky eye person, it's really good. I'm really, really happy with this palette, with these shades. I'm really happy with them. I think what I would do is I would definitely use both the lid shades, so that one and that one, in different ways during the day. It's the topper that lifts those shades, and I think with the taupeier one, not the taupeier one, the beigeier one, well, it's got a bit more bronze, not bronze, sorry, beige is the wrong word, it's more like a taupey bronze. This one, I think you kind of don't, for me anyway, I didn't feel I needed the topper, but they are so blendable, so easy, very little fallout, as you saw. So I'm really pleased with them. I just want to remind you, however, of the two lid shades. They are very different. They may not look that different now on my lids, only because the topper changed it so much. But can you see there is a real difference? One's more of a light gunmetal and the other one is more of a taupey metallic. But the sheen and the creaminess just between the fingers is impressive. It's a really lovely formula, however this formula is made. And I'm no scientist, as you know. It's really, really lovely. I also want to say that the thing that I like is, okay, the compact is really rather lovely. It's still plastic, but it kind of looks solid. It looks, in a way, it looks more solid than it is. So it's not by no means as heavy as the dreaded LV. It's no means as heavy as that. Obviously, it's plastic, but it's so chunky and so cool looking. It's lovely. And also, the other thing I want to say, it's actually a remarkably good size mirror as well. At first I kind of looked at it, I thought, is anyone going to use that? I tend not to use mirrors in compacts, and I always sort of end up keeping the plastic on them. But actually, the shape of the heart, it's a silly practical thing. Actually, I feel I can see my whole face in it, which is really that's kind of helpful. But the thing that I really wanted to say is, you know, this shade here, this kind of crease shade, it's just a really nice shade. It's not too dark. I know it's tricky, isn't it? Because you've got to factor in all kinds of skin shades. And I don't know, I'd be interested to hear from you whether you think that's deep enough for you if you're a deeper skin tone to me. But it feels to me like it's got that softness that you can put it in the crease, but it doesn't take a lot of blending because it's not too dark. So mean, hopefully that does work for a lot of people. I would imagine you'd be able to kind of mix it, as I did actually, as an eyeliner with the black in order to get a deeper crease shade. But from a personal point of view, for my skin tone, that's just the ideal kind of skin, that's the ideal taupey kind of crease shade. The one that I tend to use the most is this Natasha Denona, as you know. It's not got the warmth of the middle shade, I'll show you now, that I use all the time. But it is that kind of mid shade. That's the Dolce & Gabbana there. Next to it is the Natasha Denona Midi Eye Sculpt. But anyway, all I'm saying is that's a very usable and practical kind of shade. I'm also just want to remind you, you can use a lot of these as one and dones. I mean, that's a good thing. That's just a good thing. And also, the other thing I wanted to say is you could experiment with these taupey shades here as a little bit of a liner. They are flexible. It's a good palette. It's nicely thought out. It's nice to have 6 in there, 6 shades as opposed to a quad. I know it's a little bit, you might feel maybe it's a bit bulky for you. You can't just kind of slip it into your bag perhaps as easily, but it is quite light. The formula though is what for me has sold it. I don't know what you think. I do want to hear from people from you whether you're interested in buying these, and indeed if you have bought them and tried them, what you think and what your shades were, because at least in this palette, the formula is just beautiful. Nothing went on patchy, nothing was disappointing, and nothing was difficult to put on. Sometimes with the lighter colours, particularly possibly with a shade like this, sometimes it can go a bit patchy on me. Just really lovely. And as I've said, one of my eyes, this one, is starting to get a bit eczematic, and this is probably the last day I can wear eyeshadow for a couple of days. They went on fine. They really did. Really super blendable, no dragging. I'm impressed and I'm pleased because I want more. And all that stuff I was telling you about with the Dolce & Gabbana brand, that's to say that if we like the brand, and I kind of owe it to you because quite a few of you have said over the last couple of months, oh, there are certain products that you enjoy from D&G, that kind of gave me the confidence to shell out for these, because I don't need to tell you, it's been an expensive few weeks. But also, I would perhaps not necessarily have paid as much attention, although their marketing was mouth-watering, wasn't it? Thank you, because I got this because of you, and now I might yet buy another one. The question is, do I buy the warm one or the pink one? So let me know, because from what I've seen on chatter, most people are going for either the pinks or the warms and not necessarily going for this one. So I would love to hear from you if there's one of those or both of those, the others that you've tried, and what you think, and maybe what I should buy next. I'm totally up for it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me as ever. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.